This one thing makes a clothing brand feel premium in 2 seconds, and most founders get it wrong. It's not the logo, it's not even the product itself, it's the design of your product page. And Represent has mastered this better than almost anyone. When you land on their site, everything about the page instantly tells your brain this is high end. And this is not an accident, that's psychology. Specifically, it's called the design halo effect. The idea is that one strong positive impression shapes how people see everything else on the website. In simple terms, if the design feels premium, we assume the product is premium too. So let's break this down and let's see why Represent's product page feels so good and how you can borrow some of these design principles for your own clothing brand. So the first thing is minimalism. They have minimalism with intentionality. Represent doesn't really clutter their product pages with pop-ups or any banners or any floating icons here at the bottom. It's a just very clean representation of their product. Instead, they really just lean on clean white space. And I would say, let me just take 2 seconds here to talk about white space. They do an excellent job with white space. As you can see, you have the product front and center, you have the information to the right, and there is just this equilibrium of content happening right here. And that right there, white. If you take anything from this video, just inserting white space throughout your website, right? It's the idea of letting elements within your website breathe a little. It provides that clean look. It provides that heightened sense of luxury, of high end, right? Besides white space, they also have large product imagery. They have subtle, smaller typography. And I've talked about this in the channel before, where a lot of luxury type brands, something that you will see from store to store is that they just go down just a little bit on the overall typography size. So you'll see things like product titles, even the navigation at the very top, even their logo, everything just kind of shrinks just a little bit to bring that luxury look to it. Now, according to a study done by Google, users form design impressions within 50 milliseconds. So 50 milliseconds of your website being up. So that means that before your customer even reads a single word, right, about the product, their brain has already decided if your brand feels trustworthy. So think about that. Like, a lot of people tend to focus on, Christian, is my product description correct? Do I have the right things? Am I saying the right things? It's like, okay, what about visually? Visually, that first snapshot of your product page, does it feel trustworthy to you? I think Represent really understands that. And by leading with minimalism, they let the product breathe and immediately create, what do the kids say, aura. They create an aura of quality here. Hey, before we move on, I just want to say my name is Christian Piñon. I'm one of the co-founders here at Bit Branding. We specialize in helping clothing brands scale online. We've served over 300 clothing brands in the last year alone. I would appreciate a like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of our latest content. Now, minimalism alone isn't the whole story. Represent also uses high resolution imagery that looks very much editorial. So instead of generic studio shots, their photos feel like they belong in a fashion magazine. And again, this ties back to that design halo effect. Like, the photography looks premium, then people subconsciously think that the shirt is worth more. There was a study actually done also by Just Uno that found that 93% of consumers consider visuals the key deciding factor in purchase decisions. And that's sad because I think a lot of you tend to jump the gun on spending or having a good chunk of your budget on advertising, right? It's like, no, we need to get this in front of people, but you don't take a step back and look at what you have in the kitchen. Open up the fridge, see how are things looking inside of there before you decide to, make the omelet, serve the steak, whatever you need to do. So Represents heavily invests in here. And that's why scrolling through their site really feels like you're flipping through a luxury catalog rather than a basic online shop. So here's where I want you to pause and ask something. What is the first impression that people get when they land on your product page? Open up your product page and objectively, right, think of it from a person who's never been there before. You're the first customer that lands on your product page. What's that first impression that you get? Drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you think your customers perceive your brand at first glance. Now, the next piece of the puzzle is the copywriting tone. So Represent, I think, uses a very short, direct descriptions. And even beyond the description, when we look at things like the product title, when we look at things like size not in stock, size and fit guide, pre-order, limited stock, like even how they represent the words in here, it's very direct. They're not trying to oversell with a lot of paragraphs of hype. Instead, they use phrases that emphasize exclusivity and identity. They use things like crafted with precision or built to last. Like, this works because less is more when your design is already premium. So over-explaining can actually cheapen the perception of the value of the brand. Now, over-explaining it in a way where it becomes very jargony, there's a lot of text, there's a lot of things, it's bad. But something that they truly understand is that you have to mention certain things multiple times. So if we see, for example, we click here on product details and we see the words, one of the first things that my eyes just gravitate towards is bullet points. And it's usually, I tend to, for whatever reason, not look at the first bullet point, but go to the second bullet point. So that boxy fit is something that just kind of, it pops to me right here within the bullet points after the main description. But as you can see, they have it here once. They talk about the boxy fit. Do you need to elaborate on this? Probably not really, not too much. But is it important to mention this multiple times? Potentially. So they have that in there. But when you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see that same keyword again, boxy fit. It's a relaxed leather outerwear shape. So they're emphasizing on certain key points or key benefits of the product, along with, again, going back to the visuals, showing visuals that you haven't necessarily just seen just yet. So we saw here at the very top, these are just those editorial style magazine shots for the actual product. But then you scroll down a little and you actually get to see a video. You get to see the product being showcased and shown on a model in a quick snapshot video, along with some details of the product. And again, re-emphasizing some of the bullet points and some of the things that they talk about here within that description. So the product description, again, it could be just a few lines, but really the photography, the design of the page is really gonna do the heavy lifting for you. Now, that particular product that we were just looking at didn't have a review, so I'm switching to the actual hat in here, which ironically I'm wearing, not planned. But the next thing really is social proof, right? Social proof, it's still subtle, but it still showcases, I would say, like really anywhere else, like right underneath your actual product title, you have the star rating, you have the amount of reviews. You click on it, and then you get sent directly into what people are actually saying about the product, along with quality, length, comfort, and fit, which I think it elevates the social proof experience. So it's not just reading some of the reviews, but at a glance, getting a summary of those 4 key pillars is going to be very, very important. So I'm really happy on how they have this in here. Obviously, next level for this, and I don't necessarily think that they need it, but it would be beneficial to showcase, would be actual, like, real people wearing that particular item right here within the product page. And I would say for premium brands, it's hard. I would say it's hard. I've talked to even some of you that you just don't believe in having reviews on the product page. So it's very hard to get product reviews just right. Obviously, I think to me, one of the best things you can do is find the right app that showcases your brand, your style, the same white space that we talked about from above. Like, is it being represented with this brand? Are you using the same typography, right? There's little subtle things that you can do by finding the right reviews app. Even the one that comes to mind really is Luke's, and I recommend Judge Me a lot, but I think Luke's may give you a better look and feel overall if you are a premium brand wanting to go for this type of very minimalistic look. And again, like I said, for premium brands, it's kind of hard, but I do think reviews are absolutely necessary for people to make a better, easier, faster decision on whether to add to cart and go to checkout. Another principle that really fuels that designed halo effect here on this product page is the microtransactions. So when you hover over things, when you click on a slider, right? Those smooth animations, those smooth changes or state changes is done very elegantly. And I think that's something that a lot of people tend to not look into when you're selecting a theme. But those types of things are going to be hard to sort of enable on a theme that you've already selected that may not have some of these things, right? But for example, we click here just to look at the next product, and it's just like a nice little swift animation. It just happens automatically. There's not an image trying to load there in the background. And then when you click on product details or the shipping and returns, it kind of takes over the space. It's a nice little animation that comes up. You click on it, and again, it kind of hides it. All those little things, all these little tiny animations just signal quality craftsmanship, even though there's just pixels on a screen, right? There was a Shopify study that brands that incorporated these micro interactions saw a 15% increase in conversion rates because users subconsciously equated the smoother site experience with better product. And Represent really nails this by making every movement in here feel intentional and seamless without being annoying, right? You don't want that bouncing add to cart that I've seen some of you have. It's annoying. Don't do it. Now, here's where Represent really separates themselves, and that's brand storytelling through their design. So their product pages don't just sell the clothes, they also sell an identity, right? From the logo placement to the color palette, even the whispers of like, this is streetwear elevated, right? And when the design and branding are really aligned, customers feel like they're not just buying a hoodie, they're buying into a lifestyle. And even beyond that, there are certain products, certain collections where they literally put it right in front of you. Take this Represent an Iron Maiden collaboration collection, where you scroll down and you get a video. You get a video on the 5 years in the making collaboration of Iron Maiden and Represent, and what does it mean for them and the process for it, right? So they're actually taking you along the journey with some of these products. Obviously, this is not enabled on every single product page, but they do just a really good job of making sure that you connect, this collaboration with their brand identity. Now, when it comes to storytelling, let me actually give you a real world metaphor. So imagine you're walking into two different coffee shops. One has chip tables, kind of fluorescent lights, maybe handwritten menu boards, and the other has like, warm lighting, sleek menus, baristas, they're dressed in black aprons, right? The second one could charge $6 for the exact same latte and you wouldn't even blink. That's the design halo effect, and Represent has created that same environment online. Now, something else that I want to dig in a little bit deeper to, and which I know for a fact a lot of you are not doing, is this you may also like section. After we've seen the product, we've learned a little bit more about it, we've seen even the video, right, that goes back to it and ties into, there is usually a very generic you may also like with some suggested products. But what Represent is doing here is they give you suggested products, they give you 2 lines of products, actually 3 lines of products in here, and depends on the product page itself. But on this one in particular, I give you 3 full lines of product, and they also split it up into t-shirts, and they also give you hoodies if you're interested in some of those things. So they're actively trying to showcase more product. So they're inviting you, that they're doing a great job at merchandising their store. So you're not just looking at this product, you're also looking at this whole clothing rack and the one behind you. If we go to, let me jump into the previous one, because I believe this one, it depends on the product. So they have a very much a curated version of this on their website, which it really depends on which product page you're going to. But this one in particular also has a style width. So they give you fully, if you want to build this outfit, hey, these are some options for pants, these are some options for shoes, even the underwear, it's listed right within here. And again, they have that you may also like with more than enough product, and at the very bottom, the recently viewed items as well. So I think this is just a great place if there's anything that you can quickly add to your product page right now to get a few options here from Represent, is just add more products to that you may also like. Just add another collection list section right underneath, that you may also like. Just add more product to your product store. Trust me, it's not gonna clutter it. Customers don't know what you have to offer. So you have to be upfront, you have to show them what you have to offer on your store. Now let's go back to something that we talk about here a lot, and that's the size guide. Their size guide and their size information is very clean and also reduces friction. When you look at something like the model is 185 centimeters and 76 kg, wearing a size medium, it immediately gives you an idea of how this product actually wears. And then if you want more information, you can click on that size and guide fit, and you can see the difference between centimeters and inches and get a full breakdown of the dimensions of the product. I will say a lot of people don't necessarily look too much into this, but the most important part is going to be that sentence of what the model is wearing and the dimensions of the model, so that you get an idea for how that product actually fits. And usually within product details, I mean, we've seen it on some of the other products. See, they had the oversized fit or they had the boxy fit. So they're letting us know ahead of time, this is how this product actually fits. But that's something that they're doing really well here within the product page. Lastly, the last two things here, the product FAQ. This doesn't show up for every single product, but if they've already gotten certain questions or they want to make sure that they clarify on certain items like how does this hoodie fit, they have just very quick product FAQs answered in a full sentence for you. And then lastly, the shipping and returns. So I talk about this too. It's like you need to be upfront about shipping and returns. How long does it take? How much does it actually cost? And can we do returns? Is it 14 days? Is it 30 days? Just give me the summary right here within the product page. Again, as a consumer, I'm going to make this decision here. Let me know the details of it. Sure, if I want to see the full 2 pages worth of return policy, I can go there and I can find it. But just give me the highlight, give me the clip notes on how this actually works. Hey, really quickly, I just want to say, if you are a clothing brand owner and you want to jump into the specifics of your brand and how to grow it profitably online, you can schedule a free 45-minute strategy session with us. There are limited spots, so you go find a time right now. There's a link in the description below. So Represent's product pages look good because they're not just selling clothes, they're selling the perception, right? They leverage the design halo effect through minimalism, premium imagery, subtle copywriting, smooth micro interactions, and consistent branding. And this combination just makes the customer believe that the clothes are worth the higher price before they even check the price tag, which, by the way, this hoodie that we're looking at right now is $235. If you were curious. Now, here's a big takeaway. Your product page isn't just a place to show off your inventory. That is the storefront of your brand identity. I think a lot of people tend to think that the homepage is the most, I would say majority of you spend a lot of time on the homepage, but here on the product page is really where the customer is going to get that perception of your brand, of your product, of your quality, right? So you're not just creating a page that looks nice, you're actually shaping the way people feel about the entire business, about everything. So if Represent has proven anything, is that feeling is often what closes the actual sale. Hey, if you found this breakdown useful, please subscribe. Also, let me know what other brands you're interested in. I know Represent is a super popular and a brand that a lot of people look up to. So if you have any other brands like this and you want me to do a little breakdown, let me know in the comments below as well, and we'll take that into consideration. All right, we'll see you in the next one.